because I felt like, okay, now I'm getting kidnapped, that's it. And from this moment on, I was so anxious to leave my apartment. And this is really where I felt that I'm starting to become crazy. There was also a guy lightening up girls' hairs. Hello everyone and welcome to this new video. So today I want to talk about an article that I have recently read on DW, which is a German broadcaster, and this article was about a study that was made in Germany, and the study basically said that women don't feel safe on the streets of big German cities anymore. I thought that this is kind of interesting for me because I was living in Berlin for almost 1.5 years altogether, and I made very similar experiences. In this video I thought it would be interesting to talk about my experiences in Berlin. Women in the study stated that they were being followed, being stalked, insulted and even threatened. And this mostly happened during the nighttime when it was dark already, on bad lit paths and parks. Mostly women were feeling threatened by people under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Yeah, and I can agree on that because, for example, I remember that I have lived close to a park. I could take a shortcut through this park to go directly to the metro, but I always chose to take the long route around the park so I don't have to pass, because I remember that there were always a lot of drug addicts or alcoholics or just, I don't know, homeless people who were always looking for trouble, and if you just passed they could insult you for no reason. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of escape the situation and just walk around. Also, there were a lot of weird situations that I got in when I was in Berlin. In Germany it's like this, that in winter it gets dark around 4 p.m. already. And when I have my classes in university until maybe 6 or 8 o'clock, and I come home and it's already super dark outside, and from the metro station to my home it was around 10 minutes by walk, and this way there were usually not a lot of people. And I remember one day I came home, I was on my way home, and I hear there's somebody following me, and I was like, okay, maybe this person is just walking behind me. And I didn't think too much about it until I heard this person saying like, sorry, 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 and I was like, okay, no, I don't want to stop now because there's nobody around me, and it was a male voice. So I just kind of tried to act like, I don't know, I'm listening to music, I don't hear you, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I realized that this guy is coming closer and closer, and then I felt that he's holding me on my arm and kind of making me stop. And this was a moment where I was super afraid. I think I have never been this afraid in my life, because I felt like, okay, now I'm getting kidnapped, that's it. Or something like this, because it was really like a creepy situation. It was like a street, there was no car, there were no other people around, and it was dark already. And yeah, what this guy said, he was like, I saw you there somewhere, and I wanted to ask you, can you teach me German? I mean, he was speaking in English and he was clearly not from Germany, and he said, can you please teach me German? I was like, no, I'm not teaching German, I'm sorry. I just kept walking and kind of tried to walk faster to get home faster, but I realized that he didn't stop. He was just kind of following me and just kept talking and was kind of explaining, I'm new here in Germany, I want to learn German and I really like you and blah blah, and I was just like, oh my god. I mean, I tried to ignore him, but it's impossible, you know, if somebody's just like walking next to you like this. And yeah, I just kept answering like, no, sorry, no, I'm not doing this, no, just leave me alone, kind of. And he followed me until I arrived to my house, and then I said, okay, bye. And what he said is like, so I know where you're living, so I will always wait for you now, and I hope to see you again, something like this. And from this moment on, I was so anxious to leave my apartment. I was always thinking that this guy would wait for me in any corner, because in the morning, in winter, it is still dark in Germany, like until, I don't know, 8 o'clock maybe it is dark. So in the morning I would have to go to university in the dark, and I would come back in the dark, so it would be always dark. And I was always so afraid that I would see this guy somewhere again. So yeah, whenever I would come home from university and I would hear somebody walk behind me, I would start to really be afraid again. And sometimes it happens that I don't know, waited in some corner until this person would pass. So I made sure that this guy is not following me. I don't know, it was like just so many times that I was checking if there's somebody behind me. Like I was walking, like every 100 meters I was checking, is there somebody around, is somebody following me? And this is really where I felt that I'm starting to become crazy, that I start to be really anxious. I start to really develop a serious anxiety about people, about being alone somewhere. And yeah, from this day on I was also kind of, I don't know, asking people to pick me up from the metro, or whenever I was somewhere walking alone I would call my friend and talk on the phone so I would not feel lonely. Because also there were a lot of news always about Berlin. So you wake up in the morning, you open the news and you always read some negative news what happened again in Berlin. So there were a lot of things happening, like, I don't know, girls getting lost, nobody knew where they were. Or there were some crazy people pushing others in front of the metro. There was also a guy lightening up girls' hairs in the metro stations. Like he would just pass with the lighter and like burn girls' hairs for no reason. There was also a case that the guy was pushing a girl down the stairs and she would break all her bones and would just leave. And they were just making this, I don't know, for fun or something. And when you hear that there's so many crazy people in Berlin, you start to be really afraid and you just start to think like, oh my god, everybody around me is crazy, maybe something can happen, I always have to watch out. And yeah, I really start to be afraid to be too close to the metro when it kind of entered the station. Or I was afraid to be alone, and I just, in general, I started to really be afraid of people in general. Because I felt like everybody is crazy around me, there are too many crazy people. And yeah, sometimes I was just thinking like, what am I doing in this city? Because I have lived in so many different cities in my life. I have lived in Belgrade, in Bangkok, in Istanbul, Ankara and Berlin, and I think only Berlin was one of the places where I really started to be afraid to be outside by myself, and especially in the dark. And yeah, in general I can say that I'm more kind of a sensitive person. I'm not used to see those kind of things, those kind of disturbing things. I don't know, for example, I cannot watch any horror movies or something like this because I get frightened too fast. And I think when you have always lived in a place where everything is nice and clean and beautiful, and then you come to a city like Berlin, then then you will be frightened by everything, I think, because there are so many crazy things happening, so many crazy people. So yeah, that was just my personal experience about living in Berlin. And now when I think about it, I still have kind of bad memories of Berlin, which is very sad, I think. This is also the reason why I don't plan to ever go back to Berlin. And that was not only with me, I heard this from a lot of other friends who had this kind of experiences, that they were afraid to be in the metro by themselves, or they got insulted somewhere for no reason. Or even also one of my best friends in Berlin, she was being stalked by a guy. He found her on Facebook and he found out where she's living. He was waiting in front of the apartment. He wrote her like, I know that you left university at this and this time today, and he was sending her flowers and asking her to meet for a coffee. And she also started to be really afraid to be by herself, and especially in the dark. Me personally, I can of course only talk about Berlin. Maybe people from other cities, they have completely different experiences. I remember I had a friend from Hamburg and she said Berlin is so much worse. She feels also so much more unsafe in Berlin than she's feeling in Hamburg. So I guess there's also a big difference between the big cities in Germany. And I know that I have also visited Hamburg or Munich, and for example in Munich I was feeling way more safe than in Berlin. Yeah, this you also have to think about when, I don't know, when you're planning to move to Germany or visit Germany. So if somebody would ask me if I think that if Berlin is safe for women or not, I would say that me personally, I felt not very safe there. I mean, wherever you travel, wherever you go, you have to look out, you have to be careful. But in my personal experience, I can say that in Berlin I had to look out even more. I had to be even more careful. I'm of course only talking about my point of view, me living alone in Berlin without my family, with not too many friends. And yeah, me personally, I felt unsafe there. So what I would be really interested to hear is where you are from. Do you feel safe in the city that you're from? If this is only something for girls, or if guys also feel uncomfortable and unsafe in some situations. So yeah, I hope I didn't give you a bad feeling about Berlin. It is still a very nice city. It is totally worth visiting it. It is full with history and interesting things to discover. So yeah, you should totally go to visit Berlin. Just always be careful and watch out. So yeah, I hope you liked this video and see you in the next video. Bye bye.